I have a 13-year-old Mustang that was well started under saddle. However, he was left alone for 3 years until I recently bought him. I'm finding that his reactions are very hard to control. He's respectful, but has a watching my back mentality. I can direct him in the moment and get him to tune into me, but I'm wondering if this is just how he's gonna be. Some people have said that this is very typical Mustang behavior, and at some level you have to be okay with it. Do I keep going with the hope that he can overcome this, or have his abilities maxed out sooner because he's an older learner?
So the first thing that pops into my head is you've kind of contradicted yourself. You started out the question by saying you have a Mustang that's been started well under saddle and has a good foundation. And then you end it with he's got holes in his foundation and he's spooky and reactive. Well, which is it? Is he fucking broke right or is he not fucking broke right? Okay, so there's conflicting things going on here. You start out by saying he was started right, but then as the question goes on, it sounds like he wasn't started right and he's got a lot of holes in his program. Here's what I'll tell you. If I can only tell you what you would do to me, what I would do. It's kind of like what I always say when I trained horses for a living in Australia, and we still do it today with the academy program. The lady that sends me the Arab that bucks her off. The guy that sends me the quarter horse that rears, the lady that sends me the Frisian that won't load in the trailer, and the guy that sends me the Mustang that's never been started. They all go through the same program. I take them back to the round pen, and I act like they've never been ridden, and I build a brand new foundation on them. So that's what I would do with this 13-year-old Mustang, is go back and act like he's never been ridden. I'd follow my colt starting series and go back and find out what's wrong with him, meaning that all problems that horses give you come from one of two areas, sometimes both, but usually it's one or the other. Problems either come from lack of respect or they come from fear. On the odd horse, you'll get both. The problems coming from a little bit of disrespect, a little bit of fear. But as a general rule, horses are pretty honest. It's either fear-based, the reason why this problem's here, or it's lack of respect based, as a general rule. So when I go back and restart this 13-year-old Mustang, you might say, Clinton, why are you starting from the beginning? He's already been ridden. I'm going back to the beginning to figure out, are there any holes in his program? Clearly there's holes in his program because you're not happy with the way he's acting. So instead of me aimlessly walking around the roof and looking for a leak, I'm going to start on one edge of the roof, on the corner, and walk straight to the other side of the roof. Take a step across, walk back. Take a step across. I'm going to methodically walk my way across the entire roof of my barn and find every hole in that roof, as opposed to just aimlessly wandering around looking, oh, there's a hole, and then you get one over there. You'll miss it, okay? So it didn't matter what reason the horse came to me for training, bucking, rearing, bolting, spooking, or never been ridden. I just acted like all of them have never been ridden, and the ones that had problems showed me quickly. They either if it's fear, how do you know if your horse has a problem with fear or disrespect? That's very easy. You ready? If your problems are coming from fear, they're going to be really bad with the desensitizing. They'll be spooky with the plastic bag, the stick and string, your lead rope. You'll need to do a lot of desensitizing. If the problems are coming from a lack of respect, here's how you know that. When you ask that horse's feet to move forwards, backwards, left and right, he's going to say, fuck off, I don't want to do it. He's going to pin his ears, he's going to switch his tail, he's going to have a bad attitude. So here's the great thing about horses. They're horrible liars. They will literally tell you everything in their head if you're reading their body language. Okay? So lack of respect, you'll have trouble moving their feet forwards, backwards, left, and right. If it's fear-based, you'll have trouble getting them to stand still when you expose them to objects that move and make a noise. That's where they're going to have their heart attacks. So at the end of 6 weeks, all the horses acted the same, whether the one that came in and reared, or the one that had a bucking problem, or the one that never had a rider on its back. When I sent them all home at 6 weeks, you couldn't tell the difference between any three animals because they all went through the same program. So when you're training a horse with my method, you're basically being a detective. Remember, every exercise in my method does two things. Half of the exercise is for you, the horseman, to improve your feel, timing, and experience. The other half of the exercise is to get the horse to use the thinking side of his brain and get rid of fear. So it gets the horse respectful. You want a respectful horse without fear. So I just start at exercise number 1 in the round pen and then move on to 2, then 3. And I might get to exercise number 5 and I have a major meltdown at 5. I found a hole here. So I stay at exercise 5 until I fix that shit. Then I move on to 6, 7, 8. Oh, 9's got a problem. Okay, I go through to 9. Get 9, exercise 9 really good. Then 11, 10, 11. You get my drift? I don't go from 1 to 6 to 4 to 2 to 10. That's jumping all over the place. When you jump all over the place like that, you're not going to fix it. You have to go back and restart the horse. One thing I will tell you that I've very much noticed about Mustangs in America, the last 28 years I've been here, Mustangs, when you start them correctly and you really get a good foundation on them, they get very quiet very quickly, and they're excellent trail riding horses. And here's the but. You ready for the but? However, this is all horses, but especially wild horses. If you start them badly and you keep some of that fear in them and you keep some of that suspicious in them, they carry it forever. Every time a new person walks up to them, they snort at you and flare their nostrils. You never get them out of it. They stay like that forever. When I say never, you can, but it takes a shit ton of work. So what I tell people is if you're going to get a wild Mustang and start it under saddle, you sure as hell better have the experience to handle it. You sure as hell better have the time to dedicate to it. Okay, because if you don't and you always keep some of that fear in them, I think it stays there for most of their life. They're very untrusting for a long, long time. Okay? That's why it's so important when you get a wild Mustang that's never been touched by man before, that they have good experiences. Because that you will build on that. It's like giving a kid their first swimming lesson. If the kid half fucking drowns the first time you put them in the pool, they're not real keen to go back to the swimming lesson. Same thing. So all I could do is if you sent the horse to me to train, I would literally pretend it's never been ridden, and I'd go right back to the round pen again, and I'd literally start like he's never had a saddle on his back. I know I sound like a broken record. It's the same answer for every damn question. Go back, go back, go back. But I'm going back to find where the hole is. Over this question, I don't know where the hole is because you've already contradicted yourself twice at least. You told me he was well broke when you started, and then the more the question went on, the shittier broke he sounded. Which one is it? Is he just shitty broke? Because it sounds like he's shitty broke. Doesn't sound like he's broke well at all. Okay? So if that's the case, it would make a lot of sense to go back to the beginning. That's why in wild Mustangs, you don't want to mess with them twice a week. Put them in training 7 days a week for the first 3-4 weeks. Never, not one day off. Every day you handle them. Every day you handle them. Every day you handle them. Consistency is your greatest ally. Inconsistency is your greatest enemy.
How do you know what it takes to become successful? Talk to someone who's done it. Clinton Anderson became a multi-millionaire by leveraging his passion for horse training into a global brand and media empire, starting with nothing but the change in his pocket and the will to succeed. In doing so, he revolutionized an industry and became a celebrity. Now, you can put his experience and advice to work for your business. With Clinton Anderson's business consultancy, you can tap into Clinton's unique perspective, hear his straight talk, and get his no-nonsense advice. Just imagine yourself armed with Clinton's hard-earned knowledge and entrepreneurial spirit. So whether you own a ranch or any sort of business at all, we invite you to discover the transformative power of Clinton Anderson's leadership and innovation in your business. Call 1-888-287-7432 to take your business to the next level today.